Brampton loves ARFA and EWAS TV. Only thing we're sad about today is that she's not here in person. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us today as we unveil the 2025 City of Brampton budget. As mayor, it's been my privilege to develop this budget under the new provincial strong mayor powers, but we certainly take a team approach to budget development and consideration in the City of Brampton. I'm joined by the Vice Chair of our Budget Committee, Councillor Basante, the Chair of our Planning Committee, Councillor Paleshi, Deputy Mayor Harkirat Singh, and the Chair of our Community Services Committee, Councillor Juana Santos. This is the midpoint of our council mandate, and we are focused on driving progress and prosperity. As our AAA credit rating attests, strong fiscal stewardship is the foundation of which prosperity is built. And I think our credit rating speaks to the strength of Brampton's financial position. To start with, we are focused on every area of expenditure. When I develop the budget, I think about that senior citizen on a fixed budget, that single parent struggling to make ends meet, and it's why we have done consistent value for money audits. We have been very cautious on expenditures here at City Hall. It's why when we had the labor disagreement with QP, we were very mindful of the financial context that we were in. And if you look at the hospital levy, labor agreements, there are financial pressures on the city. But despite that, because of our fiscal prudence, I am pleased to report that Brampton will have one of the lowest tax increases in the entire GTA. We are delivering a tax rate increase of 2.9%, which compared to neighboring GTA municipalities is among the lowest anywhere in this difficult financial year. But that doesn't mean we are shirking our responsibility to plan for the future. This budget contains significant strategic investments that will help push forward Brampton's prosperity. Whether it's transit, recreation, roads, or any number of vital areas, we continue to build the Brampton advantage in our city. Let's talk about healthcare first. If you look at that 2.9% tax increase, a significant part of that, 1% of that 2.9 is our healthcare levy to build the second hospital. There is a provincial requirement for a local share. And that 1% is a commitment this council has made to make sure that we get our second hospital. I can't tell you how elated we're going to be when we see the construction start this March or April. We also have a significant investment in this budget that is part of TMU is medical school opening. So in many respects, this budget contains significant investments for healthcare. And I would note that this medical school, and there's a $10 million investment this year as part of that agreement we have with TMU in the province. This medical school will be the first new medical school opened in the GTA in 100 years, and we can't wait to see students start in September. When it comes to transit, we are the fastest growing big city transit service in the entire GTHA, with a 340% increase in ridership compared to the pre-pandemic levels. We're building a $300 million third transit facility to support that growth. And I know Deputy Mayor Singh was a huge supporter of that project, knowing the growth we've seen in the East End. We're adding more than 52,000 additional service hours to Brampton Transit. This means buses arriving in more places faster with shorter wait times. At the same time, we're continuing to green our fleet by adding 10 more electric buses into service in 2025. In terms of recreation, an area that I know Councillor Santos is passionate about, we're seeing significant investments in recreation for our youth, for our seniors, with dynamic state-of-the-art recreational amenities. The Balmoral Recreation Centre, for example, is seeing a massive revitalization. Councillor Paleshi is going to have a smile on his face all year as we make an investment in the new Embleton Community Centre. It's a $148 million recreation project, the largest recreation centre in the city of Brampton that will be located in the southwest part of the city. And we know, given the growth in the southwest part of the city, that recreation facility is needed. Victoria Park is also undergoing renovations that will include a new facility that is fully accessible to accommodate box lacrosse. The new facility will also be home to the Brampton Sports Hall of Fame. We also know how much our residents love spending time outdoors, enjoying our winter amenities. In 2025, we'll be adding 2 more outdoor ice rinks. We started the process a few years ago of adding outdoor artificial ice rinks with chillers to keep the ice cold despite sometimes changing weather patterns, and they've been so popular in the city. And so it's great to see that that's going to be expanded upon. And finally, we are also building a new winterized dome for cricket, as well as facilities for both kabaddi and tennis. And so whether you love ice hockey, kabaddi, tennis, whether you love soccer, whether you love basketball, whatever sport you love, we're making Brampton the easiest city in Canada to stay active and healthy. The list just goes on and on in terms of recreational amenities. But part of the budget process is to listen, and to listen relentlessly. And so although the budget is being announced today, we're having public engagement across the city during this 30-day budget process. We are having coffee chats. So rather than having the traditional come to City Hall, make a delegation, we're having coffee chats in different spots around the city. Every ward pairing, we hosting a coffee chat that I'm going to attend, and residents can share their feedback, tell us what they'd like to see more of or less of as we build the Brampton of tomorrow together. We're also having a round table with local businesses, a tele-town hall for all residents, and of course, residents can always come and attend the budget proceedings at City Hall. I know this is a challenging year for the city, for residents. We are the fastest growing big city in Canada. Our population is growing 4 times faster than Canada and 5 times faster than the rate of Ontario. This puts pressure on everything in our city, from recreation that is busier, to transit that is busier, to our infrastructure that is being more used. But I believe we are meeting that test to the best of our abilities within the context of municipal finances. As we drive forward with an ambitious agenda in our city, we remain committed to our goal of building prosperity for all of Brampton. So that is our budget update today, a 2.9% increase, among the lowest in the GTA. And just to say on a high level, if you take the hospital levy out, it's really 1.9. And then you consider the collective agreement we have at 3%, we really had to find savings to deliver a tax increase as low as we have here. And I think that really speaks to the tremendous finance team we have at the City of Brampton, to our Treasurer Nash, to our Chief Budget Officer Mark Medeiros, to Michael Halls and Richard Ford, who are working very closely on this budget. I want to thank them for the hundreds of hours they put into this development to make sure we had a budget that was fair for Bramptonians and drove our progress and prosperity. So on that note, I'm happy to take questions that those have in this room, and I believe we have someone going through the list of questions. Okay, yes.
Yeah. My name is Rakesh Tiwari from Hindi Times Media, and Happy New Year to you and the whole team at Kiranji Santos. My question is this, that as US President-elect Trump has said that he's going to put 25% tariff on Canada, how it will affect Brampton, and what plans you have and to take care of it, especially related to the job and financial.
So I'd say the international engagement of debate around tariffs will really be led by the federal government, although it's great to see the province of Ontario really speak up and stand up on behalf of Canadian provinces. I would note Councillor Santos has been particularly active with a city campaign to really highlight the ramifications of what tariffs would mean for our city and for Canada. I look at the Stellantis plant in Brampton. I look at the automotive jobs we have that could be at risk with these tariffs. I hope that reasonable minds will prevail, because if there is a tariff fight between Canada and the U.S., both countries will lose. There are no winners in this type of escalating tariffs. It's a tax that we put on regular Canadians and regular Americans, and it will make their life harder. So hopefully this is posturing out of Washington that will change.
My follow-up is this, that rent increase in Brampton is humongous. People are suffering through that, and a lot of people are living in the basements, and the houses are not good enough. What plan you have it in this budget, and how you're going to tackle it?
Well, we're very committed to building more housing to create more competition. The best thing for renters, for home buyers, is more competition. There has been a lack of housing supply. Councillor Peleschi has been chairing our planning committee. One thing I'm very proud of, if you look at the list of cities and approval times, Brampton has gone from one of the slower approval times, 6 years ago, to one of the fastest approval times in the GTHA. And so we're going to continue to build more housing supply to encourage that competition, to make sure we've got more rental units, more houses, more apartments. We want to have an assortment of housing supply to meet the needs of our community. And before we take the next question, I was remiss not to mention that Councillor Vicente was the vice chair of our finance committee, and when I was acknowledging the finance staff, Councillor Vicente was at every one of those meetings, and appreciate your help on this too.
Thank you.
Okay, next question. I think we have Graham from the Guardian.
Yeah, Grant from Brampton Guardian. You mentioned the hospital there, Mr. Mayor. Now that hospital was announced 4 years ago, I guess in 2021. Has there been any change in the cost of the project and subsequently to the city's portion that you're talking about?
So there has been significant construction inflation. The project has gone up significantly in cost. If you look at the cost of the Regional Cancer Centre and the new second hospital, it's going to be a project in excess of $2 billion. We're meeting our local share, and it's why we continue to have this levy on residents to make sure that we have done our part. We worry that the hospital project could be in peril if there wasn't that local share ready to step up. The province has been clear that they are ready to move ahead with projects that are ready to go, and I'm pleased to report, because of the levy, because of very aggressive community fundraising that we've been doing in Brampton, we're in good shape to meet that local share. You look at the charity hockey game we had in the summer that raised $14 million. This is a city that our team at City Hall is really stepping up to make sure we meet that target. I would note, we're still in conversations about what the local share is tied to. It appears that it's tied to the second hospital. At our AMO meeting, that the province committed to us that there wouldn't be a local share on the cancer center, and so that changes what the final percentage will be, but it's a big number for the city. It was an intimidating number, but we're going to meet it.
Can you provide what that number is? Or?
Well, like I said, because there is inflation to the project, and we don't have final numbers, and of course they're going through this progressive tender process. There's not finality to the number, but it could be in the range of $150 million.
There are always gray areas where we need to cut the spendings. In 2024 and last years, did city found any areas where we have done unwanted spendings, and we need a cuts on that and put those resources into the main priorities, like many residents said, like the many councillors trip to overseas, what kind of investment they brought from overseas. These kind of spendings, did city notice anything?
So a few things. We did a complete value for money audit across City Hall. If we didn't do that audit, you'd see a tax increase that would be potentially in double digits. It's because of that due diligence that I think we're in a very competitive position on taxes. We found savings, and that took a lot of effort. In terms of foreign direct investment, I would note that I did 2 foreign direct investment trips in the last year. I wanted to lead by example. I paid for my own trips. I know Councillor Santos did one on behalf of the city of Brampton in January and paid for the trip herself. And so I don't think you're going to see any expenses on foreign direct investment. There are no planned expenses in 2025. And I think last year, the fact that council led by example by paying for those expenses themselves, it really shows how frugal we're being with taxpayer expenses. That's certainly not the case elsewhere in other cities where you see council and the mayor covering those expenses personally.
Follow-up is, how can city make sure that Bramptonians have confidence in the fairness and transparency by the city of Brampton in doing the business, and how much surplus or deficit the city is with the dollar amount?
So the city is not permitted under the Municipal Act to run a deficit, so there is no deficit. In terms of transparency, the reason we're having the level of public engagement we're having is to be as transparent as possible. I don't think there's another city where you have coffee chats in every ward pairing in the entire city. We go outside of City Hall. Sometimes I realize that, Queen's Park, House of Commons, City Hall can be a bubble, and you hear, you don't get the full story if you stay just in the building where you work. It's why we're going out to coffee shops across the city. It's why we're having a tele-town hall. We want to give a full briefing on our budget and then hear feedback. So transparency and aggressive public input.
That concludes questions for today. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you so much for tuning in
Thanks,
today.
everyone.
Hi, my name is Michael Pleshy, Regional Councilor Wards 2 and 6 in the City of Brampton. Today we're excited to announce the start of the budget process, where it's now out into the public to see what we're thinking about in terms of the budget for the next fiscal year. We have a series of budget chats that are happening right across the City of Brampton. The budget chat for Wards 2 and 6 is going to be at the Faith Gospel Church on January 15th. From 7 to 8, so I hope that everybody can come to that wants to have their voices heard in terms of this budget, and hopefully that this budget serves the residents of Brampton as well as what the mayor thinks that it will serve, and we're here to listen to any issues that may arise, or if somebody wants to make any changes, certainly have my ears open to listen. So thank you very much for coming today.
Ready? Hi everyone, I'm Regional Councillor Rowena Santos from the City of Brampton, Wards 1 and 5, and also Chair of Community Services. Today, Mayor Brown has released the draft budget documents, and just so folks know, like other municipalities across the GTHA, we are looking at a property tax increase of approximately 2.9%, which is actually the lowest property tax increase compared to all municipalities across the province. And in that 2.9%, 1% of that is a requirement for the city to contribute to the building of the hospital. So we are prioritizing health, and we are also prioritizing people to remain physically active in their communities. As Chair of Community Services, I'm so pleased that we are investing more in terms of keeping seniors and youth active, investing in cricket, investing in a youth hub, investing in a field hockey dome. All of those things are going to be preventative health care. And in addition to that, we are making sure that we accommodate the 3.9% salary increase from unionized employees that was negotiated in the later part of last year. And despite that 3.9% salary pressure that the city has to accommodate, we still managed to find further savings to keep that property tax increase down. I'm very proud of the budget that we have that prioritizes healthcare, safety, and well-being of our residents. And I'm very excited and happy to take it out to the community, particularly in Wards 1 and 5 on Tuesday, January the 14th at Fan de Flame.
First of all, breaking news, Brampton loves ARFA and EWAS TV. Listen, great day for the city of Brampton. We announced a tax increase of 2.9%, among the lowest in all of the GTHA, while at the same time making significant strategic investments. The local levy to build our second hospital, investments to open our med school this September, new recreational amenities, and of course, our third transit facility. So this is a budget that drives our progress and prosperity forward. Brampton loves ARFA and EWAS TV. Only thing we're sad about today is that she's not here in person.